Round 1 with St. Clair Moraine on 1450 WTAL, your #1 source for local sports.
Okay, it's Friday. Yeah, I know most people forget it's Friday because if they usually turn in at 4 o'clock, they'll get me. And it's well after 4. We're just getting the show started, and we got 2 callers on the line already. So, folks, thank you for your patience. We got a late show going here, but it's going to go fast. You want to bet?
We'll see.
So on the line we have, well, folks, let me just say this before we get into it. This is a big weekend. We got football and football and football, right?
Yes, sir.
Football at Cox, football at Docamber, and football at Bragg. A lot of football in town. We're going to root for the home teams. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
But tonight's high school game, which we broadcasting at, 7:30? 7?
10 o'clock.
7 o'clock? I can't call it. I like both of those guys. You know, I'll say this much. I just hope the God we can stay undefeated.
And it
would be incredible,
wouldn't
it?
This year.
Yeah.
One of the best years we've had so far in a long time.
Yeah. So, folks, we're going to talk a little youth football to get this show rolling. And we have 2 folks on the line. And one is Dr. Sanjeev. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, sir. Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm good. And you have done some work with Metabolic, what is it, like?
Metabolic syndrome, that's correct.
Syndrome and how it affects young athletes. And on the other line, we got Coach Neal with the Tallahassee Longhorns, right?
Yes, sir. How y'all doing today?
We good. So, Sanji, hang on, let me get past this little bit with Coach because he was telling me some incredible things about the Tallahassee Longhorns. And for you guys who don't know, folks who don't know, the Longhorns is a youth football team, mostly kids who come from communities where life is tough. Don't like to call them underprivileged because everybody got an opportunity to become privileged, right? No matter where you come from, it's just tough. So, Coach, let's talk a little bit about the Longhorns, and I think you said it's the 9-year-old team that's going to that got an invitation to the national. Talk about that.
Yes, sir. Well, we got my 9 and under football team got an invitational to nationals to play at Disney World for a week. They're going to represent the Southeast region, which that's the region that we're in, and they will be competing against other teams in the other 4 regions in the world. So it's a great opportunity for them. The kids are excited. The parents are excited. Us as coaches, we're excited because they get to play on a national platform and get TV exposure with ESPN and things like that. So this is the first time we ever got an invitational being affiliated with this youth program for in 5 years. So the program is evolving here in Tallahassee. We just had 3 teams got runner-up for the conference championships, first time ever. So, like I said, the program is evolving. The kids are liking it. The parents are liking the program, and I've spent a lot of time, putting everything together and getting everything organized for all the youth here in the Leon County area.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, how did this program get started? How did you guys start this program?
I started this program. I'm originally from Tampa, Florida. I was a Pop Warner football coach for 15 years there. And when I moved up here in 2010, I went around, on Saturday to the different areas in Tallahassee. And I just seen a bunch of kids walking around, on Saturday morning. I'm used to, Saturday morning kids getting up, going to play football, and, just asking a lot of questions, hey, why are you guys not playing football? The first question is they couldn't afford it. it was too expensive. The second answer I got is they say I weigh too much. It was a weight limit. So Pop Warner has a weight limit. And then I started researching different youth football programs and found American Youth Football. And they're an age-based program, so there's no weight limit involved. So you have 9-year-olds get to play with 9-year-olds instead of like most of the Pop Warner programs. You have some 9-year-olds that have to play with 12-year-olds because of weight issues and things like that. That's how I started the whole program here in Tallahassee. And I started off with 30 kids, and now I'm up to 85-plus kids every year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Coach, you know what? That's a great segue to Sanjeev. Sanjeev, let's talk a little bit about that. You mentioned about this metabolic syndrome that's affecting kids, and it has to do with weight and that kind of stuff. Go ahead and explain to us a little bit about it, and maybe you might be able to offer Coach some insight in terms of things you need to look for.
That is correct. Well, again, I wanted to say this is Dr. Sanjeev Seenath. I'm actually a graduated pharmacist, and what we are doing today is we want to talk about the presence of the metabolic syndrome in youth football players. For y'all that don't know, metabolic syndrome, it is a clustering of symptoms associated with abdominal obesity, and this leads to high-risk cardiovascular complications and even type 2 diabetes. So athletes might assume that they are healthy and protected from cardiovascular diseases. However, this is not the case. It's being seen at a higher incidence rate in these youth football players. This is where it all starts. And this is not something that I'm just saying. It's based on studies done, clinical trials from the American Heart Association. And when I throw around the term metabolic syndrome, what I'm really talking about is things ranging from hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, hyperlipidemia. This is what I'm mainly talking about here. And what I'm doing currently is I'm working with Helping Hand Community Foundation. We are just a local nonprofit organization, and we're trying to help out. I don't want to say unprivileged because we just talked about it, but young football teams who have been having a tough time, like what Coach is just explaining. So what we're doing is we're working with them to try to help on these different medical issues as early as possible, because preventative medicine is always better than treatment. So when I'm talking about this condition that we're seeing, there's a lot of things that we can do. Early things such as monitoring BMI, the body mass index of our young athletes, to make sure that they're not being overweight. We can look at things that's like calorie counting, such as making sure that they're not overeating, that they're following what is required for them as a young athlete. Yes, it's going to be increased, the calorie intake from the regular type of person, from the normal individual, but it's increased and it needs to be monitored, because a lot of people are not monitoring these things. We do things like looking at things like HbA1c levels to monitor diabetes at such an early age is something that we do. Looking at cholesterol levels, all these things are things that we, with the foundation, that we're trying to get out there, because this thing is happening at the younger age level, and it's just continuing, and it's becoming rampant. It's becoming an epidemic, and people aren't really looking out for it because they think they're an athlete, so they're doing well. But this weight that's being gained, and overweight that's being gained by these young athletes who can be stars, it's just something that a medical condition that we need to start looking at from day one.
Mm-hmm. So, Coach, you heard all of that. Talk about how you deal with that kind of stuff in terms of, when a kid is, even though you don't have that weight limit situation to deal with, when a kid is kind of pushing it.
Yes, sir. Basically, what I try to do is I use myself as an example. Been an athlete all my life. Come to find out, my senior year in high school, I ended up being a diabetic. Played sports and things like that. And what I try to do is inform the parents about certain eating habits for the kids at a younger age, to try to help, prevent certain things like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, things like that, getting them more active and have them do at least an hour exercise every day, cardiovascular exercise and things like that. And to go back to the point to where, we had kids that couldn't make the weight limit. It wasn't really, kids that was obese. It was just, kids with different body mass and different body sizes. Some parents will try to starve the kids and make them lose weight in order for them to play sports. And that's when I found this other youth program, and they was not trying to discriminate against the kids based on their size, or maybe they may be 5 or 6 pounds over the weight limit in order for them to play. So I found this program would be a good fit for a lot of kids that want to participate in youth football and cheering and things like that. So, but I have some players that's been with me, 3 or 4 years, and they came to me. They was obese. They was overweight. Now they're fit. They've been exercising. They've been getting into workout programs, and it's just changed their whole outlook on things like that. So I think that with just a little bit of knowledge that I know based on myself being a diabetic at a young age, it's helping them to, that want to eat better, exercise, and things like that. So what Dr. Sanjeev is saying, it's really great to start out really early, to try to curtail a lot of those things that, so they won't, progress when they get older.
So, Sanjay, here's the thing about this that's kind of perplexing for me. I don't know if perplexing is the right word, or I just don't understand it. So you go to the doctor, you're diagnosed as a diabetic, and part of what they recommend is the diet and exercise. Here you have these kids exercising, on a daily basis, and they're still at risk for this metabolic syndrome, which could include diabetes and other crippling diseases. So what do you recommend? What's the answer here? Is it just the exercise and diet, or what? Or some people are just built that way?
Well, you see that, this goes on into the discussion about genetics playing a big role, because for I myself, I have high cholesterol, and if you see me, I look like a perfectly in shape young man. I'm only 150 pounds, 160 pounds within that weight limit and everything, but it's just, and that's 5'7", so that's pretty normal. When my primary care physician looks at me, he says, no one will ever tell, no abdominal fats around my waist or anything. So this is where the key goes back to making sure that we do early screening. It's because awareness and intervention yields the most favorable health outcomes. So not only we talking about doing things like monitoring diet, but staying away from, when it goes to diet, staying away from high sodium foods to keep blood pressure in check is one good thing. Also, staying away from the saturated fats, eating more unsaturated helps against the cholesterol. And the main thing as well to help with diabetes is cutting out the sugary beverages. All these sodas and energy drinks that's out there. These are straight sugars. What we want to do is go ahead and eat complex carbs. Get the sugars from those clean sources of carbohydrates, because these carbs is what we get the energy from, and it's broken out into the sugars, and stay away from those straight sugars. So, again, I completely agree and understand what you're saying. A lot of it is not only, just basically being overweight from not eating right. A lot of it has to do with genetics and the way we are built. But what we need to do, as from my perspective and as a health professional, and also from the coaching standpoint, what you guys are talking about, is make sure that we take the preventative measures to make sure that early screenings are being done, to make sure that we are aware that this young man may be at a higher risk for getting diabetes, or his cholesterol is already shooting up really high at such a young age. So as long as we know that, we can make sure we try to prevent these to get more favorable health outcomes, to make sure that our teen football players and youth are being healthy and being out there to the best that they can be.
So, all right, you're in Jacksonville, and obviously, as you mentioned, you went to FAMU. You started working with the, what is it, Helping Hands, it is?
That's correct.
Which is a program for young people, and it includes uh, football and youths and just basic football stuff. Talk about what you guys are doing with your outreach in Jacksonville.
Well, so I'm going to be the president over that new location in Jacksonville. So we're about to launch. We're trying to launch at the beginning of the year. Trying to put together the last bits and pieces to launch that, to branch out. Because originally the foundation Helping Hands community was started in Tallahassee in August of 2012. However, now that we've actually grown and we've seen where we're able to help out others in the community over in Tallahassee, we want to go a little bit bigger and branch out in Jacksonville where we have a larger community. And what we're doing is basically we are collaborating with different pharmacies. One of them is WCRX over in Tallahassee. And what we're doing is a health initiative to screen these youth football players by assessing those simple metrics that I talked about, things like just their weight, their height, conducting blood pressure screenings, for glucose readings, just doing cholesterol screens. And these things are very simple tests. All it takes is one little single finger prick just to get a drop of blood to be able to tell these things. So what we're doing now, we want to do the same thing but go even bigger out here in the Jacksonville community because there's just so many football, youth football teams that are been growing up tough as well here. I like using that word tough that we started, not, that they can't really go out there and finances is a problem. So what we're doing is getting funding from these different entities, health entities, in order to provide the services for these young people. That's kind of what we're doing right now. Something new that we're also doing. We're just trying to get out there with the hospitals, hospital laboratory facilities down here, so we can do more in-depth testing, so they can actually look for different biomarkers such as things like C-reactive protein and different things like that to tell more about cardiovascular risk in these young youth football players. So that's kind of what the Helping Hands community is doing, and I'm going to be, the president of that location here in the Jacksonville area.
So, okay. Now, here's another kind of perplexing situation, okay? There is, I don't know of a youth football, because I'm listening to you and I'm going like, well, maybe if they had a trainer or physician as part of these programs to monitor them, it can help. These kids are not like college players, not even high school players get to have a trainer, right? So it seemed like it would behoove you guys who are running these leagues to at least get pro bono help from people in that industry in terms of just having a trainer come by once a week, every other week, to do these kind of tests you're talking about and monitor these kids. Let me get Coach to answer that one real quick, and then Sanjeev, I want to hear your spin on it.
Yes, since I started my program, I have gone around to solicit trainers, nurse practitioners to try to give some volunteer time for that, and they all want to be paid, especially dealing with kids. They want to be paid for their time, so I haven't yet to find anyone to come out to donate their time, like you said, even once or twice a week, to help us out with the kids in the program. So if you have any suggestions on how I can get that done, I'm all ears, and I can take it from there. But it's just hard right now trying to get someone to come out and volunteer their time for that.
I can imagine. Guys, hold your thought. The music means we got to go to a break. Let's go pay some bills. I'll be right back after these messages. You're listening to Round 1.
Tidewater, Virginia has a brand new artist out. His name is Derek Dunn. Hi, this is Tony Williams from Gospel 360. Coming back with more Derek Dunn after this.
Black Friday starts now on appliances at JCPenney. Now through Saturday, get up to 40% off major appliances from your favorite brands like GE, Samsung, LG, and now Frigidaire. Plus, get up to 36-month special financing on appliance purchases over $299. Plus, earn up to $100 in JCPenney rewards. Plus, free delivery. Add it up. These deals can't be beat. JCPenney. Available in select stores. Some exclusions apply. Financing terms valid through 11/29. Must request at time of purchase. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. Free delivery not available in all areas. Rewards points earned on major appliances. See store or jcp.com/appliances for details.
Okay, children, we're done with the alphabet. Next subject, financial well-being. How to manage your money. Turn to page 5 of your textbook.
When it comes to money, you can never start learning too early. That's why starting today, State Farm wants to give you the tools and support you need to take control of your finances.
Tonight, read the chapters on credit cards and balance transfers. Pop quiz tomorrow.
Find out more at letstarttoday.com. State Farm, here to help life go right.
Preacher's kid Derek Don has his first national release. It's a new take on an old song, If It Had Not Been.
So I wanted to portray the message to let people know, you know, yeah, we're successful. Some of us are successful. Some of us are going through some things. But at the end of the day, if it wasn't for the Lord that was on your side, you know, we'll be lost.
Catch more at gospel360.us.
The multitude of Christ Church is an apostolic, Pentecostal, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled church of God, located at 1133 West Orange Avenue in Tallahassee, Florida.
Welcome back to Round 1 with your host, St. Clair Moraine.
All right, we're back. You know, this is not hardcore sports, but it's essential. I'm actually enjoying this conversation. You know, we're not talking stats, we're not talking wins and losses. We're talking about being
Healthy.
yeah, and playing sports. So, Sanjay, to the question about, you know, how do we get these people to come and monitor every now and again? Because here's the pickle. When
Definitely.
huh?
No, definitely. You're definitely right about that. And, you know, and this is the issue that we've been dealing with, you know, is trying to get physicians or nurse ARNPs to come out and donate their time to these types of causes, you know, because obviously financial burden is one of the hugest things we've been faced with. This is why, you know, not to brag or anything, but this is why I am doing what I am doing as a young graduated doctor in pharmacy. I'm trying to do this to bring more awareness, because if I don't do it, someone needs to get out there and do it. So I'm not getting paid for this. You know, this organization is nonprofit. You know, we're doing it really to try to help out there. So what I'm trying to do is bring more awareness to, you know, trying to help out these youth football players, not even only football players, but other athletes. And Helping Hands community, this is what I'm trying to do right now. So what we do is I'm pretty much kind of like the liaison between these different health entities, trying to get these services paid for by these different companies to go ahead and help donate, maybe even if it's a blood pressure cuff that they can donate, or even if it's the diabetic testing strips, to do these little minor testings. So we can start. We have to start somewhere. So by me taking this step with my team in order to do these things, I'm hoping that some physicians, we can get other people on board where they can say, okay, fine, well, maybe we can't come directly to the football players, but every Friday they're going to donate their time to have them come to their site where they can help them look at these different issues that we're talking about, you know, the different metabolic things, of areas of concern, like the blood pressure, the diabetes, and you know, the high cholesterol. And that's where I'm at with this concern, and I'd like to hear what you guys think about it as well.
Well, Sanjay, let me put this one to Coach, you know, because I know you guys must be feeling like a cat, given all of this stuff that you know, Coach. You know, you groom a kid, you get him to eat right, you get him to where his health is good, and he goes to college or even to high school, and the coach say, you need, especially if he's playing O-line, you need to put some weight on. The first thing that kid is going to do, or that young man's going to do, is load up on junk food, load up on the kind of stuff that can help him put on the weight fast so he can make that team. So what do you do at that point? I mean, it's tough.
Well, to answer that question right there, we you know, if I can get someone to help me that aspect, but I try to give them just the experience that I had on the things that they need to eat in order to gain, because there are things you can eat to gain weight and put on muscle without eating junk food. So, and now most of the colleges and universities out there, they have a weight program, which means they can, you know, pretty much put on, you know, 10 to 15, 20 pounds of muscle in a year with the workout, the eating, the proper conditioning, the proper rest, because it's everything above. It's just not just eating certain foods or lifting weights. You got to have a combination of everything. It's rest, exercise, stretching, everything above in order to get your body at, you know, performance peak in order for you to perform at your optimal. So, I try to let them know now early that it's important to get your rest, because if you don't get your rest, your body can't grow and develop like it's supposed to be. And I try to give them examples, and I let them know that an Olympic athlete, they get 10 to 12 hours sleep a day. A person that performs, that goes to the Olympics, that's trained to go to the Olympics, they sleep, their body rest, because they put it through so much
such a grind
and training and everything like that. So your body has to rest in order for it to repair itself and to grow and develop, at the optimal. So I just try to educate myself and pass that on to them. Hopefully, that'll stay with them until they get to that, the secondary level, and then the colleges and universities that'll take over. But I would love to be able to hook up with Dr. Sanjeev and help me out with my program, and because my program is developed and it's time to take it to the next level. And I'm seeing all these other programs from around the country, and I see kids that the athletes, their bodies and the way they perform. So I can see somebody's helping them. It's just trying to get professionals around in this area to come out and donate their time, as far as with sports physicals, just regular monitoring of the kids, if they have slight injuries or things like that. That would take the program to another level, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah. Sanjay, here is your assignment then. Call on some of your peers, some of you, the guys and ladies who graduated with you, and get them to look into this program with Coach Neil, and see how many of them want to help. So that's your assignment, okay?
Most definitely. I will definitely do that, and everything that Coach said is true. You do go get into college, and they do have the weight, for them to be able to monitor the weight. But the major thing is just bringing awareness. Letting them know that, hey, look, you are an athlete. You are putting on weight. Hopefully, making sure you're packing on muscle and not just flab and fat the wrong way. So just being aware that there is this metabolic syndrome that's going around out there, so that we can work with them. And Coach, I appreciate you reaching out just through the air.
I'll connect you guys.
Yeah, most definitely. We will definitely do that after we get off here, and I would love to work with you guys, and you guys will just give us some more leverage so that we can actually, have people that do want to participate, so I can have some more power when it's time to try to get these other healthcare professionals to get on board. And I just want to say thank you for, having us to chat today.
Sanjay, a question that just came to my mind. So, as much as I know about old school athletes, they were doing fine. Guys I think the biggest problem with athletes were alcoholism or alcohol abuse. You didn't hear about diabetes, high blood pressure, that kind of stuff. They were just great athletes. What went wrong? You did the research. What happened between, say, 3 decades ago, 4 decades ago, and this generation? What happened?
It's more of a mental block. It's a mental block in the sense that it's more of an attitude type of problem that we've seen. It's like a big shift, you know. Before, you know, people with the younger kids and everything, from what my research has shown, is that they were more, you know, they paid more attention to those things. You know, people talk to them about their health. They would listen. They would know it's something important. But now it's like the youth nowadays, it's like they play a deaf ear to it. You know, they will go stuff down the McDonald's and not to bring it down, but just go eat the most unhealthiest things. And when it's time to even try to go get a checkup, or there are places that does it for free, that will be able to help out. But it's more of a mental mindset change that what's happening. You know, the way the media and how everything is portrayed nowadays, that's one of the number one issue that why we're having this problem today.
Yeah. So I want to do this real quick before we go to the break. My protege here is a golfer, and he's got a testimony. If those kids are their parents listening, tell them how it worked for you, Ian.
A couple years ago, I came out of high school and I was overweight I was overweight. I was only 17 years old at the time, and I weighed at 275 pounds, you know, which is a lot of weight for me, you know, as a kid that age. So, you know, doctors tell you, you know, you got to find a way to lose the weight, otherwise you're going to have serious health concerns if you're an athlete, no matter what sport you're playing. And what I found was I found a trainer who helped me. I worked with him twice a week, and days I did not work with him, I was out running 6 miles a day, lifting weights, and doing whatever I could to get healthy, and also blocking out the junk food. I'm eating grilled chicken, all kinds of fruits and vegetables. When it comes to being an athlete, you have to understand what's healthy for yourself, for your body, and to get yourself back out there and be an athlete to where you want to be and get healthy. And what I recommend for these athletes is it's okay to eat food, but you have to understand of how much you want to eat in one day. It's not about
what type you eat.
Yeah, for me, like, it's about eating the healthy. Like, put away junk food for a while. Treat yourself every once in a while. What I do for myself is I treat myself every weekend. On the weekends, I treat myself to, you know, burgers or fries. But during the week, it's all about eating healthy foods. You know, don't sit around. You know, if you take 20 minutes out of your day to go work out, like, you know, go to the gym, you know, go outside, go for a walk, go for a run. Do something with yourself. Don't sit around and do nothing, because that's how you're going to gain the weight. If you want to maintain weight, you got to find ways of doing that. And for me, it's going to the gym and working out every day.
But see,
I just want to touch on that point real quick there before I know you got to cut it. But you're exactly right. It goes back to, you know, sometimes it just takes getting a pen and a paper and making sure you do that carb counting and knowing what you're eating, keeping track of it, and knowing that as a teenager, you know, you should have 2,600 calories. That's for teenagers. And, you know, when you go into that adult category, it's 3,500 for these athletes. So counting it, there's roughly about 50 kilocalories per kilogram of body weight. So just making sure that you stay within your limits. So when you carb counting and making sure you're getting it from the right sources, then you wouldn't have this problem. And the only thing you need to worry about is the other genetic, environmental type factors, which you know, not too much can be done, but just making sure that early screenings can be taken care of for awareness.
Right, and it's not about, you know, if you want to gain weight to make it on a team, it's not about eating unhealthy foods. It's about eating what's right, but also it's a matter of building the muscle weight, not fat weight. You want to maintain the right weight.
Correct. That is absolutely right.
All right. Well, Sanjeev, listen, thank you so much for knocking me over the head to pick this topic up. I truly enjoyed the conversation. Coach, thank you so much. And we'll be talking more about your 9-0 team that's going to the national championship. I know you're going to bring it back to Tallahassee, so I don't have to worry about that.
Thank you very much, Mr. St. Clair. I appreciate it all. And come hit us up, Helping Hands, Dr. Sanjeev.
All right, Sanjeev, thank you so much. The music means we got to go to a break. Coach, we will talk after the show. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Listening to Round 1 now. We got to take a break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Black Friday starts now on appliances at JCPenney. Now through Saturday, get up to 40% off major appliances from your favorite brands like GE, Samsung, LG, and now Frigidaire. Plus, get up to 36-month special financing on appliance purchases over $299. Plus, earn up to $100